Hello everyone, how's everybody doing? You guys doing good too? I'm doing good too. So welcome back on my session today. In today's session, we are going to be talking about Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn was one of the amazing systems that a lot of people tend to ignore or they didn't want to take any notice on the system because of the previous generation consoles. Did it have anything to do with previous consoles like uh, which gave Sega a really bad name, which were the Sega Mega Drive 32X and Sega Mega CD. These two systems, right, weren't proper consoles. Wow, they were consoles, but they weren't standalone systems of their own. That's the big problem because people don't tend to like add-ons. I don't know what's the problem with add-ons. It's still a system, isn't it? What's the reason behind hating the add-ons? I mean, add-ons in a way, it's not a bad thing. It's a pretty good thing. Because at least you get, to enjoy different systems. It seems to me people just wanted to play a Sega Mega Drive. I mean, that sounds really lame to me because playing just a Sega Mega Drive isn't a good idea because you don't get to play more advanced games. And it wasn't 3D hardware anyway. So that's a big stupidity about that. And I do say it wasn't a good idea anyway. Hold on. Just playing them systems, it doesn't make anything interesting, does it? Because just playing that system, there aren't any advancements, is there? Well, I don't think there is. Ignoring more powerful hardware is not the way to go. Well, I don't think so. I think that's just madness. Settings for you guys. If you're watching it properly, now you know what you're doing. Yeah, as I was saying, because like Sega Mega Drive 32X was a more enhanced version of the Mega Drive, and it was a much better hardware. But why did people actually ignore it? That's the whole point, eh? I don't think anybody should ignore it. It was a really important system. Okay, let's try this out. There. Yeah, I was thinking of why would people ignore something like Mega Drive 32X when it was a much better system than Sega Mega Drive. Were people making the right choice? Not at all. If you look at the games that Sega produced on the Sega Mega Drive, look at them. Alone, let's just look at Sega's software. What Sega was trying to give us. Look at Virtua Fighter 2, for instance. That looked really terrible. Then you got games like Untitled Champions, Outrun, Virtua Racing, and so on. I don't know why with somebody, will just ignore just the hardware. Now, if you look at Sega Mega Drive 32X, that had games, right, that surpassed Sega Mega Drive in every way. And look at Space Harrier. Yeah? Take a look at that. If you ever seen that on Sega Mega Drive 32X. That is a great example. And some power that Sega Mega Drive 32X is capable of. Okay, wasn't phenomenally amazing, but it looked more clearer. And it looked a bit more faster. Didn't it? But and there were games like hold on. Outrun. No, sorry. Was it Outrun? I think. I'm not sure about Outrun. Let's not talk about Outrun anyway. Uh, Virtua Fighter. That was really good. Absolutely amazing. Look how good that game was in 3D. How amazing it was. It was absolutely amazing, man. I haven't seen anything like it. I mean, not in terms of that kind of hardware, any. It's absolutely amazing. Nothing's not coming by, is it? It's just gone off scale. Oh, it's not good, is it? Oh no. The example as Virtua Fighter, that looked so good. It was an absolutely incredible 3D fighter, wouldn't you say? Then you even got an even better version of virtual racing. Some people don't understand anything. Sega Mega Drive 32X was an absolutely incredible hardware. It was showing the true power that anything can you do. Okay, some people were criticizing Doom, but can you make Doom on Mega Drive? Could you? Well, I don't think you can. Maybe a small screen, but at least Sega Mega Drive 32X had Doom on there. And it looked really, really good. Even the screen was like a bit small. But the game was absolutely amazing. Look at the power that system had. Not only that, they bought the second add-on called the Sega Mega CD. That was even a better hardware than Mega Drive 32X, which gave you games like, of course, Sega Mega Drive 32X had another game called by Sonic Team Knuckles Classics. That was absolutely an incredible looking game. I think it had better graphics than Sonic and Knuckles. The one on Mega Drive was much better than that in terms of graphics, anyway. I don't know why people are ignoring it. Some people just don't understand what they're talking about. So much things to talk about, really. I do have to say that. But there's not many people understanding these things, do they? He had some good games like Snatcher and all that. But there's some things that people don't just understand. They just went for the things that they both were add-ons. When there was more to them systems, wasn't there really? A lot of people just don't understand these things. I don't know why. It's really, really good fun if you understand what's it all about. Now, both of these were add-ons, and even though were more better hardware, they didn't work out. And they just flopped as add-ons. It's very stupid, indeed. Very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. Now, next up is the Sega Saturn. But Sega Saturn is not an add-on, is it? This system is even better than the Sega Mega CD, because out of the Sega Mega Drive, Sega Mega 32X, Sega Mega CD was the most advanced at all of these systems. But it didn't work out, and it failed. Now, the good thing about this is, right, the Sega Saturn was technically more advanced system. Nice. That was right. Finally, we got it full screen. Now, the thing with Sega Saturn, don't patch. The game on the screen is Don't Patch on the Sega Saturn. A game by Atlas/Cave. So he says 995, 906. It must be that the original game must be released in 995, and then the Sega Saturn version must be 996. Please relate it. At least we got it. Thanks as well. Well, the good thing by the Sega Saturn, it was technically more advanced in 3D hardware. It produced Sega's Model 2 arcade games. Some were disappointing, saying that it's not good as the Sega Model 2 arcade cabinets. And it was actually true, it wasn't. But really, why do you want it to be good as that? So what? It wasn't good as that. Does it really matter? I don't think it matters at all. Because the actual games were just the same. It's just a difference between just brightness and build graphics, nothing else. But apparently there was still the Sega Saturn. Hardware was pretty good as the arcade. And it looked kind of neat. That was a main thing about it that a lot of people didn't like because they knew about it by looking at its games that it doesn't look that good. You know, people go for these minor, stupid things. What is wrong with that? If these games didn't look good as the arcade, but there were still similarities. They look similar. What's the big deal? I don't understand. Why do people think of that? There's so many funny people out there who think stupid things like that. And they don't eventually don't do so good, do they? The bad thing about this is that people just let it down.
Presented by Kate.
Oh yeah. It's funny to hear this. Okay. So back here, nice. So as I was saying that, please insert coin was like the arcade, and you had to put the coins. You say please insert coin, then you put the coin, then you can play the game. Technically, the system was a beautiful looking system. And the thing about that is, it was the games were on CDs. The design was nice. It looked really, really cool. It was a CD-based system. How cool that is. Check that out. How amazing the actual games were on it. That's the whole point, wasn't it? Now, you can see this example. This game looks really good, doesn't it? You actually agree with that. I'm sure everybody will agree with that. The game looks absolutely fabulous. It's marvelous, isn't it? Look at the laser, man. Incredible. It's an incredible shooter. Sega Saturn had some amazing shooters on. This is a fine example of that. Really, really amazing. You don't get these kind of examples from many games consoles here. You wouldn't get this from SNK Neo Geo AES, SNK Neo Geo Series Z, Sega Mega Drive, or even Super Nintendo. You wouldn't get this level. This is Sega Saturn's incredible power, effects, and music that they used to produce. But this game is not made by Sega. This is Atlas and Cave. It's a great, great looking thing. I do say that Atlas presented by Cave. Okay. Now, the disappointing thing about this was that they're saying that the 3D hardware in Sega Saturn wasn't capable of producing some games. And it was to be said that the 3D hardware wasn't good as the PlayStation. And a lot of the games did not appear on Sega Saturn. If we look at Resident Evil, then Resident Evil came, then Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 didn't appear on it. Did you see that? They were ignored. Then, even when you look at the original Wipeout, they call the quality of the original Wipeout doesn't look there. Okay? They said stuff like that. And even when they released Wipeout 2097, they technically was saying that Wipeout 2097 was not good as the PlayStation version in graphics and speed. I don't know what to say about that really, because I played the game on Sega Saturn and I couldn't really see the difference. The graphics were pretty good on it. And the speed, what was wrong with it? It looked really, really good. I mean, there's a lot of foolish people out there kept on saying these stupid things. I don't know what the heck they are about. It was a really, really good game. Still on it. See, these kind of examples they were looking at. Then there was another example, I would say, Tomb Raider. Obviously, Tomb Raider and both the systems look kind of identical. But it seems to be developer looked at it into the hardware and he thought that Tomb Raider 2 wouldn't be a good idea on the Sega Saturn. It didn't come on it. And then the Sony PlayStation had Tomb Raider 2, Tomb Raider 3, Tomb Raider Last Revelation, Tomb Raider Chronicles. Now, if you look at Tomb Raider Last Revelation, it does the Tomb Raider Last Revelation is Tomb Raider 4, and Tomb Raider Chronicles is Tomb Raider 5. I think so, something like that. And these games didn't play on it. They all came on Sony PlayStation. Look how many games they missed. But even saying that, I don't think a lot of people should have looked at that. I think because a lot of the sales went down. Because if you're producing them third-party games, okay? Then you're gonna have a problem. Because you're getting all these kind of sales, right? From these third-party games. Now the biggest problem is that if you got games like Resident Evil, Tomb Raider, Wipeout 2007, Wipeout 3, you're gonna make extra sales because you got more games, haven't you? And Sega Saturn didn't have them. So it would have lost sales because them games didn't appear on the console. But saying that, still there were a lot of good games on the system. What happened to the customers or the fans of who are games consoles? When they looked at that, more people start buying the Sony PlayStation than Sega Saturn because Sega Saturn didn't have any of them games. It was lacking in them games, okay, which was bad. I don't know what to say about that because I don't really think still that would have affected it that much. That is just some of them games, isn't it, really? But still, there were lots of other different games on the Sega Saturn. Then why did people ignore them games? If we look at, we had games like that the Sony PlayStation couldn't touch. Daytona USA, Deep Fear. How cool this looks. Of course, Wipeout 2097. Virtua Fighter 2. Fighters Mega Mix. Sega Rally. Now look at all these games, man. How can you say that the system wasn't that good? There were a lot of interesting games on the system, man. A lot of them. Last Bronx. Another one. Don Patchy. Don Patch, what do you call it? The one on your screen right now. That's another fine example. There was a lot of quality stuff on it. Why look at it like that? Just they didn't have the same game from Sony PlayStation. So what? Let them have them games. Who cares? You shouldn't ignore a system just it doesn't have them games. But look at the quality it had. You had games like Loaded, Tunnel B1, Exhumed. Because they totally didn't have anything. Doom wasn't a really good version of the game, but it was on there. A lot of classics on the man. You can't really say that they didn't have anything. Quality stuff. It had good features as well. I can name you some. It had similar features that Panasonic 3DO had. Panasonic 3DO already had these kind of features, but Sega Saturn took them on board because in that time these kind of things were available, you see, and that's why some of these consoles had these things. The Sega Saturn had you can play gaming CDs, audio CDs. With a VCD adapter, you can play VCD movies. Wow. Photo CDs, yeah, and photo CD plus G discs. It did all that as well. People just have to flipping gaming, nothing else. But it had all these kind of features in it. It was a really technically advanced system, I would say. A really impressive showcase. The one thing about this that it had really important games that released by Sonic Team. Sonic Team released 2 amazing games that Sonic PlayStation can't even touch. That's why people are stupid. They can't understand anything. Burning Rangers was like a thing like where there was these firefighters. Oh my blimey. The flipping graphics, man. Whoa, the action in this game. All the excitement you would have missed if you haven't played Burning Rangers on Sega Saturn. The Sonic Team released another game called Nights into Dreams. This was an incredible game where you got this character, this boy turned into this kind of a, I don't know what you say, like a jester thing. He flies into these 3D stages. It was absolutely amazing. Playing this wasn't very good to play on the original Sega Saturn controller, but you could play, but it's not the best experience. What Sonic Team did, they released a Sega Saturn 3D controller limited edition. They released one of them. I do have to say, Sega Saturn's game controller Model 2 is still one of the best game controllers when it comes to D-pad games. Yeah, D-pad. The X thing. Alright, as I say. Even when you play in today's world, emulation, which uses D-pad games, which are Sega Game Gear, Sega Master System, Sega Mega Drive, Sega Mega Drive 32X, Sega Mega Drive 32X. You can play some great emulation on these systems. Now, if you want to play, because on the screen what you're seeing is an emulation called Yaba Senjiro. You can buy a main flash Sega Saturn. Hold on. Yeah, Sega Saturn Chapter for PC USB. What that does, you connect that thing to the PC first from that cable comes on the left side, and on front of the adapter, you got 2 ports for Sega Saturn controllers. And what you do, you can have Sega Saturn game controller Model 1, Model 2, and the 3D controller. You can all use them on that adapter. Not only that, you can even use the steering wheel and the virtual gun. Yeah, you can use all that. This adapter is that good. Not only you can play Malaysian, you can play PC games. Yeah, PC games. All the new ones. There's all that. What was special about the Sega Saturn 3D game controller? I didn't mention anything about that. A Sega Saturn 3D game controller had a switch at the bottom, left for the X, which was for the D-pad, and the right had a circle, that was for the analog control. You have to choose which one you want to play on. You cannot play on both, you have to select one. But that's not a problem, because whenever you want to use the D-pad, you press it to the X, and whenever you want to play the analog, you press it to a circle. I'll tell you right now, that controller is a more improved controller than the Sega Saturn game controller Model 2. It's even better than that one. Now on this Sega Saturn 3D game controller, you've got D-pad and you got analog now. Look what that is. You can use both. You can use both now. The only bad thing about that is you can't use them together. So you can't. You have to select the switch from left to right, like that. So I do say that's a bit misleading, but this controller, the Sega Saturn 3D game controller, is a really high performance controller. Nobody should go without it. I don't even think the nowadays controllers can match the Sega Saturn game controller Model 2 and the Sega Saturn 3D game controller, which has D-pad, analog, the base buttons, right? The 6 buttons. Because on the original Sega Saturn game controller, the ABC buttons were large and the X, Y, Z buttons were small. But on the Sega Saturn 3D game controller, they were all the same size. They were large. And even the shoulder buttons, triggers, what you call it, it's amazing, man. It's one of my favorite controllers of all time, especially into analog games and all that. It's really amazing thing to have. I wouldn't say it's just in your collection or a collector's edition. Because you know the controllers we got nowadays, I don't think that even the Sony PlayStation, the PS4 game controller, has a great analog. It works in a way that it quickly gets pressed, the analog does. It's not an incredible looking analog, I would say. It's good, but sometimes it doesn't just feel right. I don't think it does. And then if you look at the Microsoft Xbox 360 analog, what's that like? It's good, but it still feels like the PlayStation ones, I would say. I don't think it's even good as the PlayStation one, because I think the PlayStation one is better, I would say. The analog on a PlayStation pad is much better. The Xbox 360 one doesn't look that good. And then you got the Microsoft Xbox One game controller. I don't like this controller at all. I don't like it. I don't like the analog on it. It's crap. It's totally crap. You know what they've done on this? The analog on the top is deep inside. When you put your thumb on it, your thumb goes inside. I know what they're trying to do here. Because once you place your thumb on it, it holds it. But I don't prefer to do that. I don't like it at all. As if your thumb goes inside and it holds it. Sometimes if you do that, it's going to hold it there, isn't it? It holds it there. Then you can't move it around that much. And not only that, it can sweat. It can sweat. And sometimes it gets so hot, you lift your thumb up. Isn't that ridiculous? I don't know why people say that's good. It's rubbish. I think it's absolutely rubbish. If it gets really warm, you have to lift up your thumb up. And I don't really think that was a really good idea, making like that. What about any other Nintendo game controllers? I mean, when I saw it first time, it was introduced, the analog from Nintendo was on the Nintendo 64. Nintendo 64 had a really good analog. I think so. I don't care what people say about that controller. That control pad is pretty good. Now the biggest thing was about this controller was about Super Mario 64. The less you press it, it just works. The more you press it, then it works a little bit more quicker. If you press it full, then it starts running fast. Look how good that analog was on that controller. It's absolutely a really good controller. But the problem with that analog can be the way it was sticking out. Sometimes your fingers used to get slipped off. Used to slip. Alright? Every analog he made, okay, they all tend to slip. Your thumb liters, the thing was slipping off. They were all doing that. I think by far the worstest analog he's ever made was the Nintendo Wii. But what about the Nintendo GameCube controller? What was that like? I think the Nintendo GameCube controller was better than Nintendo 64 controller. In my opinion, a lot of people said anyway, Nintendo GameCube might be the best game controller that Nintendo's ever made. Yeah. The joysticks, I don't know what you want to call them, they were pretty good on it. They were really good. They were like circles around them, weren't they? I don't know for that. Why would you do that? Maybe it keeps your fingers still on that. The way they made them, like in a circle, actually keeps your thumb still there in place. I don't really think that controller, your thumb really slips on that. I don't really think it does that much. It is pretty good, that one is actually. Then there is a Nintendo Wii, you know that? Nintendo Wii one doesn't give you good precision control. No, it doesn't. It's like you're straightforward, just pressing it, and using it. I can't see any slow to fast movements. It's not good for that one. But the Nintendo GameCube one, from slow, medium to high speed, it does all that. It's a much, much better controller. Trust me, it's a really, really good controller. I did really like that one, and I think it was kind of a Nintendo game. Then there was a Nintendo Wii U. What the heck? I know what Nintendo was doing there. He put a screen in there where you can play like a handheld device. Now the biggest problem is that is cool, right? I think he should have bundled another controller with it. That controller is only suitable when you're playing your games without using a television, and that's what Nintendo Wii U is all about. It's a gamepad. It's called Nintendo Wii U gamepad. And the Nintendo Wii U gamepad, had a screen. I think there should have been another small controller with the system. But it's already separate, isn't it? At a very later stage. But you need it on day one, don't you? Because you cannot play with that big bulky controller. So especially if you're on the television, you got that real massive controller. Yeah, it just doesn't seem right. Anyway, let's go back to the Sega Saturn 3D game controller. Now the Sega Saturn 3D game controller, right, had one of the best. The reason I was talking about the game controllers, now I'm going to talk about this. Sega Saturn 3D game controller had one of the best analog to date. No joke. When you just put your thumb on there, right, on the analog, your thumb stays intact on there. Once it's placed on there, it stays in position. It does. It stays in position. If you look beneath, you know that thing at the top, the circle beneath, the under it, it's like a trackball thing, isn't it? That mechanism is absolutely incredible. You can see when you put your thumb, when you're spinning around in 360 degree, right? The movement of the thing to the left is amazing, and to the right hand side is amazing. Yeah, it's good both ways. It works really, really well. Trust me, one of the most amazing analog I have ever seen. You know what? That kind of analog quality. You know what? Where you see that? In a really expensive controller by Microsoft. Like around about, I don't know, about 120, 150 quid controllers. But this controller isn't that expensive. It was only expensive because it was limited edition. And it was bundled with 1 or 2 games. It depends which pack it was. I've seen package, right? Probably with Nights into Dreams and Christmas Nights. If we look clearly, some sellers, right, are selling Christmas Nights with it. Can that be right? Probably not. Because if you look front of the box, it says, I think on the bottom left, Sega Saturn 3D game controller, and then it's got a beautiful picture of Nights into Dreams. And he's wearing some purple clothes, and he's flying on there. He's got his hands out and all that. Beautiful box, I'll tell you that. One of the most amazing box I've seen for a game controller. No joke. And it's one of the finest controllers, for my opinion. It's a really good controller. The D-pad on this controller is really good, man. It's very flexible, man. The 3D analog control is really good. The face bones perform really well. Wow. The shoulder or the trigger bones, whatever you want to call it, they are really good as well. But the controller, the whole shape of it is like a circle. Then on the left and right, you've got the long thing sticking out where you can hold it from. It's good to hold in the hand as well. It's really good. So that's the controller they use for Nights into Dreams on the Sega Saturn games console. The controller package was like a limited edition for a short time. That's what limited editions are. Sega Saturn should not be ignored because it did a good job of it. I did find one thing disappointing about Sega Saturn when Sonic Team released the Sonic games at a very later stage. I was a bit disappointed with that. Why wasn't there a Sonic game at launch? There wasn't. They released them really, really late, man. Really late. Very disappointing. They were between 996 and 997. What the heck, man? Why now did they release them that late? I was really disappointed in that. Very, very disappointed. I wasn't happy about that, what they were doing. But I do have to say one thing. Whatever they were doing on the system was great. Everything on it was really, really quality stuff. And people who ignored it were all wrong. Because there were really, really good titles on this system. and they were ignored by many gamers out there. You should never think like that. There's some games missing. Because at the end of the day, if they are quality titles, you go for them. And what's wrong if you don't even get games like, further games of Resident Evil, Tomb Raider? So what? Even Minecraft. Who cares? I don't make them games are good anyway. Who cares, man? They didn't come on it. The only important game was just Resident Evil 2. That's it. Out of all of these games, just Resident Evil 2 is important. And the rest of them weren't. I don't think anybody should think like that. It was a very important system, which was ignored by lots of games out there. Very, very disappointing indeed. It was released in the right time, which was in 1995. After the Sega Mega Drive success came the Sega Saturn in 1995. The era of 16-bit era was finished, and the 1995 Sega Saturn appeared, which was a really, really good thing. And at launch, there was a lot of good games on it. Every time a console tends to lose, when it starts losing developers, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. But still, Sega Saturn had legendary games, didn't it? Even it had less developers. It wasn't shortage of games, not really. There were quite a lot of games. Come on, man, look at the list. What they released. And what are these gamers on about out there? A lot of these titles, right, appear on Sega Saturn. That's not true, man. It's absolutely rubbish. Rubbish, man. There is a lot of good games like it. I do have to say, gamers should be more nice to Sega Saturn. They disappointed Sega, and it didn't carry on. Look what they've done to the system. The Sony PlayStation wasn't good anyway. It was just carrying out third-party developers. What kind of games even shine on that damn thing? Come on, man. Where Sega's own games will blow away Sony's game out of the water, man. No way they can beat them. No chance. There was arguments on stuff like Virtua Fighter 2 versus Tekken 3. Wasn't there? Which game was better? I think, as a 3D fighting game goes, I think Virtua Fighter 2 was a far cooler game. And it had really good graphics as well. I don't really think Tekken 3 was really good as that. I don't think it was. A Virtua Fighter is technically every time a better game than Tekken games. But this one was anyway. But further along, what happened after that? What did PlayStation do after about Tekken 3? But did they get another Tekken game on there after Tekken 3? No. Sega Saturn released another one of the greatest 3D fighting games on the games console of Sega Saturn. Fighters Megamix. Fighters Megamix. One of the largest 3D fighting game ever developed. Mixture of everything, man. A lot of different games. Daytona USA. Fighting Vipers. Virtua Fighter Kids. Virtua Fighter 2. Everything was mixture on this damn game. Even virtual cop characters. Yeah, it was like that, man. This game was incredible. How do you challenge that then? Now, tell me about that. You can't. Now, don't the gamers feel silly now? Don't they? Sega Rally. What did they have? Colin McRae. Colin McRae games are crap. They had Colin McRae 1 and 2. both the games were rubbish. They were absolutely rubbish, man. Sega Rally alone can beat both of them games, man. Sure. What a flipping joke, man. What these people are doing back in that time. It's lost 3 times now. Look at that. Sega Saturn had a firefighters game, Burning Rangers. Did they have anything like that? No. What about a 3D flying action game, Knights into Dream? Did they have anything like that? Plus, Sega Saturn had a 3D game controller. Did they have a game controller like that? Of course not. What is going on back in that time? Total madness. You have to look at the quality of gaming, not the quantity, what's coming on the systems. It seems to me the quantity overwon over quality. Yeah. Stupid. Really stupid. I have to say, really stupid guys. Very disappointing. So I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Sega Saturn in its own right was a very quality system. There was nothing wrong at it. Now let's look at it. Everything about it. Was it released in the right time? Yes. 1995. Was the price good? Well, it was pretty high when it came out. Then gradually started going down a bit. I think if they started with a much better price, it would have put the Sega Saturn in a better position. But they used a really high price on it, which made it a bit misleading in it. Was the launch good? I don't remember the launch games what they were, but I know they were good. Yeah, the launch was really, really good. The launch was tremendous. Were there any third-party games on there? Of course there were. Let me see if I can name you some of the games that were non-Sega games. Loaded? Tono B1? Radiant Silvergun? That's a very good game, by the way. What else was there on it? There were quite a lot of games, I just can't remember them from my head. There were quite a lot of fighting in the zone. There was this mech fighting, wasn't there? I know there was the other one, Virtual, the action game. The Sega Rage was really good, by the way. Really good. I can't remember that mech game they released. That fighting game. Whatever it was a quite good game. There were lots of good games on there. So everything on that system was right. It's just the way people think they don't know what they're talking about. A very, very disappointing from the customers who buy games, console and games. They ignored Sega Saturn and its games. Utter disappointing. When the Sega Saturn is kind of a legendary system in its own rights. And the Sony PlayStation games aren't even good as Sega Saturn. No way. They aren't. This is just made up crap that people who buy PlayStation are saying they're better. They're not. Of course they're not better. Fortunately, people were thinking differently at that time. They were more into these in-house and third-party games. They wanted to enjoy them kind of games. Instead of what Sega Saturn gave us was totally ignored. So I hope you guys like my video and you're enjoying Don't Patch on Sega Saturn. This is another really good game on the Sega Saturn. Just take a look at these graphics. Does this game look awful to you? There's good quality stuff like on Sega Saturn. Very good stuff. Now, everything on Sega Saturn was to the highest quality what Sega and their respected developers were doing for it. It was keep on losing sales, wasn't it? There was two things to this. I would say three, maybe even four. The first one is some people didn't forget the days of Sega Mega CD, the item they produced, and then a lot of them people didn't want to buy it. The next one is the high price tag. The next one is, I didn't mention this one actually, the 3D hardware in the system was weaker than Sony PlayStation. Yeah. It was that as well. The hardware was a little bit weaker. That's what was putting the Sega Saturn down to produce more games on it from other developers. Alright? That was really important. And you know the last one is there weren't in-house and other third-party developers. These are the stuff that made a Sega Saturn a failure. I don't really want to use that word failure because in my opinion Sega Saturn is still a high quality gaming piece of hardware over the Sony PlayStation. I do really think that. I don't care if there were more sales and more games on Sony PlayStation. It doesn't have the quality. PlayStation doesn't have the quality of Sega Saturn. It never did and it never will. I don't ever believe that because it didn't. Sega Saturn, in my book, is still one of the finest 32-bit games console ever. There were other 32-bit systems as well. SNK Neo Geo CD-Z, which was focusing on 2D hardware again, which I don't think was a wise idea. It should have had a 3D hardware. Panasonic 3D as well. Good, powerful hardware. Similar to Sony PlayStation, that was Panasonic 3D, but didn't take us a while. There you go. 4 32-bit games consoles. Let's go through these 4 32-bit games consoles. SNK Neo Geo CD-Z sold one of the most awful selling system that was. Then we got Panasonic 3DO. Sold a bit better than that one, but still wasn't good sales at all. Then after that it was Sega Saturn, which had even better sales than Panasonic 3DO and SNK Neo Geo CD-Z. But all the stuff I mentioned here, Sony PlayStation walked over it, and it had a lot of incredible, powerful sales where the Sega Saturn couldn't match. Okay, so there you go, all 4 32-bit systems. I think out of the all 4 32-bit systems, if we look at the best 32-bit high quality gaming, will be on the Sega Saturn, definitely. I think it's a competition between Panasonic 3DO versus Sega Saturn. I think so. These two consoles, right, had one of the best games for 32-bit games consoles. I think so. So where does SNK Neo Geo CD-Z land? It's an arcade legendary thing, I would say. If you're really into arcade games, then the SNK Neo Geo CD-Z will walk all over them. It will. Trust me, then it will. Because if you're into arcade games, especially this system was based on the arcade cabinets, SNK Neo Geo CD-Z, then the SNK Neo Geo CD-Z is one of the best 32-bit games consoles in that sense. Definitely, that is the best games console. Sony PlayStation just relied on third-party developers, and it kept on just releasing too many games. It was just quantity, man. It wasn't quality. It was just producing too many games, which were, I would say, just based on quantity gaming. Okay, I wouldn't say it's quality gaming. Even there was some quality gaming, but still, the gaming quality that PlayStation has, it wasn't like the other three. No, it wasn't. It was based on quantity. So now you know all four games console where they were landing. Sega Saturn has some games from Sega and a lot of different games from other developers as well. Sega Saturn is the best games console you can ever play. So I hope you like my information today. It's been quite informative here. It's giving you a lot of depth knowledge what to expect from a Sega Saturn games console. And it's amazing Sega Saturn 3D game controller which was made into dreams. So thank you very much for probably listening to my video today. It's pretty long. So give your likes, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.